Receiving simulator transmission. Uploading transmitted feed. Initializing playback sequence. Log execute.
Hey everyone, Seipher here, and welcome back to Seipher Plays Pokemon Fire Red Nuzlocke. In the last episode, we met up with the captain of the SSAN, got the HM01 cut from him, took on the Vermilion City Gym where we beat the Electric-type gym leader, Lieutenant Surge, went and got the HM05 Flash from one of Professor Oak's aides outside of Pewter City, and got the old Amber from Pewter City while we were there, and then made a bit of progress catching a few new Pokemon. In this episode, we're going to be progressing forward, but first there's something that I want to take care of here. Now, before we begin, I would like to show that I have changed around my team a little. I brought Happy back in place of Viper because Happy's our catcher, and the next area that we're going to has a lot of rock and ground types, so Viper wouldn't be very good. I also retired Poppy, as her usefulness has pretty much run its course. While she did do well in the gym battle with Lieutenant Surge, her typing isn't all that great, and her modest nature would be holding her back quite a bit. So I've changed around my team for now. Oh, this is more than likely only a temporary setup, because there are other Pokemon that I'd like to have in place of, say, Warren, and Happy's definitely only temporary. So before we progress forward, I want to go in here and head up here, because there's another of Professor Oak's aides here. Hi, remember me? I'm one of Professor Oak's aides. If your Pokedex has complete data of 30 species, I'm supposed to give you a reward. An item finder. This will help you find hidden items. I have already collected over 30 different kinds from evolving and training, both my main team and the ones that I've already caught. There are still other Pokemon that I need to evolve, but this will do for right now. Anyway, with that, I have taken care of everything that I want to do here, and while we could try going this way, as we'll soon see, there is nothing for us here. That Pokemon blocks the way. So, I'm just going to make use of my incredible teleport Zatara to return me to Cerulean City so that we can quickly travel to our next destination. And I'm leading with Happy because, as I said before, there are Pokemon that we're going to want to catch. There's going to be at least 2. Now, I do have to say I am a little concerned about this section that's coming up. It was always the hardest for me as a child, mainly because I would get here, not really know what to do, and would be too stubborn to use Flash because HMs were incredibly disappointing as moves in battle, and for those of you that don't know, they're not able to be gotten rid of so easily. You need to find a certain NPC to be able to get rid of them. And at the time, I didn't know that, so I just didn't want to teach Cut or Flash to anyone, and now we've got a new Pokemon. And it's just the one that I was hoping that we'd run into. Not that there was anything else we could catch here, at least in the grass. So with this, I'm just going to put him to sleep, and hopefully this will work out very well. I did do some shopping off screen. I bought some more Pokeballs. Well, actually no, not more Pokeballs. I bought some repels because I intend to use them after we get through with all of our catching in this next area, because I want to try and get through this next area as quickly as possible. As I said before, there are a lot of rock and ground types, so it's going to be a bit tricky to fight, considering they have some solid defenses, but I have a plan. I brought Tublot back in, specifically because he's kinda the most expendable. And we have but he's also very close to evolving, so he could be pretty useful. Plus his fighting type moves will make quick work of any rock types anyway. Now we've got this Voltorb, and I'm just going to go with a simple name because I don't actually see myself using him unless I become very desperate for an electric type, because there's at least one area that I can get a better electric type and one Pokemon that I can guarantee an electric type in. Okay, we've got a Pokemon Center here, but I'm not going to bother with it. I definitely recommend having a Pokemon that knows Cut and Flash for the upcoming trek. But before we do that, I just want to see if I can run into a Pokemon before I do any flashing. And of course we got this guy. Okay, well, can't get something rare every time. I'm actually a bit happy that we got this guy here now, because it'll just be easier than having to constantly worry about running into it in other caves. Plus, other caves might have something a bit better. I know we could have gotten Machop or Onix in here since we already have Geodude and Mankey, but honestly getting Zubat out of the way right now and at this decent of a level is probably a good thing. Hopefully he'll be a bit easier to catch than the Voltorb was, because he was a Pokemon we could encounter earlier when catch rates were still pretty low, and what do you know, he does. So, with that, we now have a decent flying type. A shame that it can't evolve to Crobat in this game, because for some reason they just didn't want you to, at least until post-game. But should be fine, and probably going to be a bit unoriginal with this nickname, because I don't really see myself using him all that much. Okay, Alucard, back into the PC with you. You'll likely be trained off screen anyway. I'm going to quickly toss up a Repel, and then swap Happy with 2-Blot, and use Flash. So now we can see where we're going. Thankfully, it's a very useful move, and we'll be able to just make our way through. Now, there are a few trainers in here. I'm not going to fight every single one of them, because I kind of want to get through this as quickly as possible, but should be enough to gain some decent experience. The current level cap that I have is 29, so I can't get too crazy, but hopefully it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And hopefully I gain enough experience that 2-Block can gain 2 levels, because that's when he'll evolve, from my own personal experience with raising Mankey. Okay, got that out of the way. I guess, you know what, Warren, you're not going to be sticking around, because I've kind of turned you into an HM slave in a way. You don't have all that many good moves to learn, so let's just get you out of the way. Of course, with crits like that, I think you're trying to make an impression to stay on, but I don't think that's going to really breach me, as you would expect. Anyway, we should be good to move on. So, I suppose one thing I should say is that I will go back to certain areas and get items that I miss or skip over off screen, just so that we can get a lot of progress with each episode. And I also want to clarify on something that I was sort of rambling on last time, and that was the whole not wanting to catch things off screen, or wanting to, debating content to handle off screen versus in the Let's Play itself, such as battling trainers versus catching Pokemon. I personally find catching Pokemon off screen to be a bad idea for a Nuzlocke, since it does present some doubt into me being genuine with what I'm catching and first encountering based on that clause. However, I don't think fighting other trainers off screen that I skipped over is necessarily a bad thing, because I mainly see it as I'm splitting my focus when I'm recording these episodes and fighting trainers between commentating on you and, commentating to talk to you guys and focusing on winning the fight as I should. So it does make a death more likely to happen, since I'm focused on two different things, splitting my attention between you guys and the game itself, whereas battling off-screen to grind or train, I have kind of a bit more leeway to focus on the game and just make sure that I'm keeping everyone alive. Whereas this, I gotta make sure that I'm not remaining quiet for too long. Although, I think there could be okay, I really need to focus now. Getting so caught up in discussing this that I almost let Happy die. Don't worry, Happy, I'll heal you up, because I really want you for at least one last big catch. And you are pretty much the key to it. So, and you know what, I'll use a potion on Warren because he didn't get too beat up. Okay, with that, hopefully we don't run into too many more trainers. I did kinda look up the way through this place because it's been quite some time since I've been through Rock Tunnel. I always remember just sort of rushing through this area. There are some things that you want to stop and check out, but I'll point them out, the main one a bit later. Let's send in Zatara, since 2 Blood doesn't really need the special attack EVs, but Zatara definitely could use them. Zatara is a very lucky catch, I have to say. While I did have a plan to get him, and was thankful enough to assemble the pieces needed to ensure that he was a capture, I could have also gotten him a bit later. It would have just been a bit of more of a headache, but I got really lucky with him. And you know what, let's just go for old time's sake with I know that this is probably a stupid move from a Nuzlocke perspective, but special attack EV from Bulbasaur. I really want to get some special attack EVs on Maverick to start getting him to hit harder. So let's just keep fighting this guy. Okay, well, I'm gonna need to use an antidote. Luckily I have a few left over from my stockpile from back when I was worried about getting poisoned constantly in the Viridian Forest, so I'll take care of that real quick. I really want to up his special attack because there haven't been very many opponents up till now that I could train him against to get those special attack EVs. The main one being Oddish and Engineers in Route 11 that have Magnemites, which is, both of those are not a good idea. The Oddishes were a bit better because I could basically out-level them and muscle them out, but that took longer, so hopefully I can just get through this really smoothly, because we're coming up on an area that I can actually train him in special attack EVs in. But for right now, that area both isn't quite reachable because we still have to get through here, and for one other reason that will become a bit more apparent a little later on. So let's just focus on getting through this cave. Personally, I feel that this cave is the first real dungeon that could possibly trip you up. It's honestly a hard time, what with having to have a Pokemon that has Flash, so you're eating up one slot of your team, at least I am, for an HM slave. I suppose you also have to factor in that you can't really use flying types in here, because if you're not repelling away Pokemon, you're constantly running into Geodude and Onix, in addition to the regular Zubat appearances, and those can get real annoying real quick. So it is a bit of a challenge, but not too much of one. Thankfully, I caught quite a few Pokemon that are very helpful in this setup. And I know I said I wanted to have 2-lot lead so that he could get some levels, but I also want Henry to get on, because I'm still debating if 2-Blot, if he evolves, would take over Henry's place, or if Henry will stick around, because I'm honestly debating it, since Henry doesn't really have all that great of moves. He only learns one new move now as a Nidoking, naturally. Everything else would have to be via TM, and I'm honestly not quite sure what my team is going to be, and that would affect Henry's moveset, so just kind of debating it. Okay, with that repel off, I want to throw up another one so that we don't run into any more, well, so that we don't run into any wild Pokemon, not any more wild Pokemon. I believe this guy here is... There are 2 hikers at paths like this. You have to battle at least one of them. I think this is the one that I have to fight here, so just gonna hopefully get through this with not too much trouble. Okay, I probably should have used Karate Chop there, but no problem. I keep forgetting Geodude, despite being a rock, and it does weigh some. It's not as much as, say, Onix, where I would want to use Low Kick. Okay, well, that's, I suppose, for things to talk about. I guess you guys could see that my voice has kind of improved as we've gone through this. I attribute that mainly to me just getting more practice in using my voice and enunciating. I'm getting a bit more comfortable to recording these videos. I personally think it's helped me a lot as a person. My voice probably still doesn't sound all that great because I don't have a real mic to record these videos with. I'm mainly using a pair of Jabra Elite 65T earbuds with their own built-in mic, which I think, compared to the other option I had, some Apple AirPods, this mic is a bit better, bit more crisp than what the AirPods were doing. I know that sounds a bit weird, but I'd say it's the truth, at least from my own testing and from asking a certain acquaintance of mine what they thought of the sound tests I did when preparing to record this game. I suppose there's one thing that I could say is that I'm surprised that the Deathless run has been still going so long. I mean, I've had a lot of luck, as we've seen up till now. I basically rigged the first gym, had a pretty good strategy, and got very lucky with the second gym. Got lucky in my capture in Mount Moon, and thus trivialized the third gym, though you could always get a Diglett at Diglett Cave to fight Surge. But yeah, I've been very fortunate, so I'm wondering how long is that luck gonna last, because usually with a Nuzlocke, if things are going too well, there's bound to be a wake-up call eventually. Usually, most Nuzlockers I see get like 2 gyms in and then lose a Pokemon, or maybe even 3, but I've so far gotten 3, so this is another reason why I'm concerned about this area in particular, because of all the trainers and all the difficult rock types. But it seems to be going pretty smoothly for the most part. We should be just about out of here. Ooh, this is going to be a bit tougher. Graveler. I think that this thing might have self-destruct, so I gotta be careful. If it does self-destruct, it's pretty much 2 blots death now, but thankfully low kick actually does decent damage against it. I guess it weighing a bit more than what Geodude would weigh. So let's just get through here. I believe this is the last. Yes, this trainer right here is the last trainer you have to fight. If you want to explore a bit, I would suggest going down and to the right from where I currently am and following that path, because that leads to an NPC who is a move tutor who will teach one of your Pokemon Rock Slide for one time, a 75 power, 90 accuracy rock type move that may cause flinching. I personally will be coming back for this later because I don't know who I'd want to teach it to, and as I said, it is a single-use move tutor, so I'd rather hold off. But I will be back for it later, probably off-screen, before I go into the Elite Four if we get that far. But with that, 2 blots now, level 28, so he'll evolve so I can switch to somebody else to focus on. And we've actually been going a pretty decent amount of time here. Granted, it's been very quick because I've been repelling and trying to just get through this area as quickly as possible, but it's been pretty good. We should have some extra time in to actually do something a bit more than what I had originally intended. There are a few things that we can do once we get out of here, but I have a very particular plan in mind. And here we go, 2 blots evolving. Okay, time for what was my favorite Pokemon as a kid, because just the thought of Primeape being this sort of pig monkey thing that was so angry all the time just was very humorous to me. Especially the introduction episode for it in the anime. Primeape Goes Bananas, where it constantly chased Ash. That was a lot of fun. Oh, nope. Okay. Let's throw up another repel just in case. And here. Oh, no. Okay, so wrong. Okay, so that NPC that I just saw down there is where you want to go if you want to talk to get the move Rock Slide. I always kind of get mixed up in this place. Okay, well, 2 blot, now that you're evolved, you're pretty much set. Hopefully now you'll start being able to take things out a lot easier because your attack stat and speed stat just went through the roof from evolving. Thankfully, at a good time, so we'll hopefully get through this real easy. With him settled, I can add 1 more evolution to the list, so I suppose one thing that I can mention is that I keep track of this Nuzlocke using a special online tracker app that I will link in a comment below the video, because there's not really a lot of room in my episode summaries at this point. I find it a very useful tool for keeping track of who's alive, what I've nicknamed them, what their species, what species I've caught, and what routes are technically still available to catch on. Okay. And with that, I believe that there's only 1 or 2. Nope, I did not have to fight those 2. Okay, I'll keep. Okay, last trainer. And 1 repelled later. Okay. Last trainer, and we will be officially through here. Now, I know that I did a long episode last time, but I really want to get to the next town and then onward to a new area, so let's just go with this. Come on. Oh. I want to get to the next town, then to the next route to actually catch something, because I really want to see about catching it. And then after that, I want to make it to the next city and unlock a few things so that I can have something to do off-screen, well, between episodes, so that things just go smoothly. And I know I didn't want to have to take up more time, but I will, because Two-Blood is nearly at the cap, and if I want to use him later, which I might, I don't know, I want to keep him from leveling up too much, so let's throw Zatara in and get through with this trainer. Alright, there we go. And with that, we have made our way through Mount Moon. Now you'll want to be careful because there are trainers up here that will try to fight you and ambush you if you're weak, so better to avoid them altogether. And now we made it to Lavender Town, a pretty spooky town. This is where they buried their dead, the Pokemon Tower, but I will not be going there just yet. Well, okay, I took care of the repel, so I'm gonna heal up here real quick. And then, with the remaining time that I have, I intend to move on to the next route. I don't intend on changing around my team, even though there are certain team members I prefer. However, I will swap Happy back to the front, because he's the catcher, as I have stated multiple times. And, okay, well, can't get out of battling her, so let's try and make this quick. Because there are two things I want to do. Okay, well, Happy doesn't really have much to deal with you, so I'll just put you to sleep and swap to someone who likely can deal with you. And that somebody would be Henry. Come on out, Henry. That Pokemon Tower that I had briefly mentioned that we're not going to is the place where I want to train up Maverick just to get him some special attack EVs, but right now I can't really be access to do that for reasons I'll explain a bit later. But for now, well, that area is cut off from us, so really the only place to train special attack EVs would be anywhere that Oddish is. And right now, there are only a few places that Oddish is, and they're not exactly good experience sources. And while I do mainly want to get EVs, experience is the main reason to train up Pokemon. Okay, with this last taken care of, or that Gambler there, whichever you choose, we can now access the grass on this route, and because of my diligent catching on previous routes, there is only one Pokemon that I can run into here that I can catch. So hopefully he or she doesn't take too long to show up. Okay, oh, not you. Come on. No, not you. I got lucky with Dane Voltor, but not so lucky with this one, it would seem. Come on, not you. The one Pokemon that I want to catch here. It's also on the next route that I'd be going through, but this is the first route that's available. Okay, here we go. Growlithe, a fire type, and a type that I'm in desperate need of because I skipped out on Charmander, so I didn't get the automatic fire type there. And the only other fire type that would be available at this point is only a Leaf Green exclusive Vulpix in this same area and in the next route as well. So, this is why I saved these 2 Great Balls, because I want to try and catch this thing as easily as possible. But it would appear that this is not going to my advantage. Let's see what to do. Do I attack it? Let's see. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? You know what? I'll take the risk that a tackle won't kill it. Okay. I don't want to tackle it too much because I don't want to crit it and potentially kill it. Come on, get in the ball. Alright. Thank goodness, because I was in desperate need of a fire type. Definitely getting added onto the team, gotta be high up on the list of what I use. And I have a perfect name in mind for you. All you JoJo's fans, hopefully this name doesn't end up foreshadowing him dying. Yep, Abdul the Growlithe. Okay, with that, we are good to move on and take care of the last 2 things that I want to take care of before I... oh, crap. Well, wasn't aiming to do that, but I guess I have to do it now. To the left is a gate to Saffron City, which I didn't bother going to from Cerulean or Vermilion because we can't really do anything there. But we will instead focus on the underground path that's in front of us, because that will handle whatever our travel needs are for the time being. But part of what I wanted to do with this episode was make our way to the next city so that we can actually take care of that issue. So that I don't have to do all this navigating around. You know what? Let's just leave Henry in. Come on, Henry. Just take out this coughing. Come on. I know that this is probably a bad idea using Thrash when he's confused, but I really don't foresee Henry having all that much trouble, and I can just switch him out now. Let's throw Zatara in. He has a lot of special attack and should be able to gain some decent speed EVs off this Voltorb. Okay, Psybeam. Here we go. Voltorb has a lot of speed, but not much else to its name, so thankfully it went down easily. And now a Magnemite. I would like to... I know that Two-Blot doesn't need special attack EVs, but I want to make this quick. And I'll just have to keep from using him off-screen or much in the next episode until I get past the current level cap. Because for whatever reason, after the next gym, the level cap really shoots up due to so much of the map opening up to us. Okay, with that, we can now go in here. And I'm just going to make this easy. And go through to the other side. Okay, now on Route 7. Since I caught Growlithe on Route 8, this route is technically dead to me, so no need to worry about it. I believe this is the building that I wanted to go into. Yep. Okay. Oh, you'll want to get this because that will open up the way for Saffron City, and then the two other things I wanted to do here. This building right here, I believe, is a restaurant, and we want to talk to this man here because he was a gambler who got too caught up in the game corner that we saw just a few seconds ago, which would be right here, and gave us his coin case. So with that, we now have our own means to play the slots. I'll likely do that off screen because I don't really foresee myself I don't foresee myself wanting to do it on screen, and I don't foresee you guys wanting to watch it on screen. Then up here, the last thing I wanted to do before we hand over that tea is get this, an Eevee. And that is going to be very useful. I'll likely handle everything with him off screen. Well, not off screen. I'll handle adding him to the team because there are only 3. Normally, I wouldn't advise this in a Nuzlocke, but in Fire Red and Leaf Green, there are only 3 possible evolutions for Eevee, and 2 of them are not exactly all that necessary for a Nuzlocke. The first being Flareon, a fire type, and I know what you're probably thinking. You just said that fire types were exceedingly rare if you don't get one as a starter, so why would you not want to use it? Well, its stats aren't that good, and its moves without TM are kind of laughable. So I want to be sure to not. So I wouldn't want to be using it. Okay, and I'll explain the other one after this. Ooh, that tea, it looks awfully tasty. Oh, I can have this drink? Gee, thanks. Look, look, look. If you want to go to Saffron City, you can go through. I'll share this tea with the other guards. Okay, with that, Saffron City is opened up to us. But we will not be going there just yet. It's just mainly a means for me to get back between the various cities as quickly as possible. I suppose before I end this off, I will explain the other evolution that you could get from it. Vaporeon that I don't recommend as much is a water type, and let's be honest, you're going to encounter a lot of water types, whether fishing or later surfing, and I already have Maverick, so it kind of is a pointless thing at this point to have another water type. Plus, I have Sisu the Gyarados in the back, so if something happens to Maverick, she'd be the next one in. And then there is another Pokemon later on that I think would fit better as a water type for a team. So yeah, Vaporeon's pretty much out from that, and with Flareon not being all that useful despite its typing being rare for a Nuzlocke, that pretty much only leaves one option, which I will explain when we actually evolve Darwin. So, with that all completed and all that progress made, I'll end this episode here. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, stay gold.
Playback sequence terminated. Transmission disconnected.